Hello and welcome to Trojan Talk. I'm your host, Aaron Taylor, but not for very much longer because today is a kind of a special edition of Trojan Talk because my guest here, the young lady sitting across from me, is going to be taking over the duties here at Trojan Talk. This is Paige Ray. This will be one of my last times here doing the interviews for Trojan Talk because I handed off to her as the new television production coordinator here, running the news operation here at TrojanVision. But we're going to get to know a little bit about Paige here today, and so you guys at home will get a chance to know more about her. First off, well, Paige, welcome to the TrojanVision family.
More like welcome back.
Welcome
to
back.
the TrojanVision family.
For those who don't, some avid viewers may have been around for years, may recognize Paige.
Yeah.
She was a student here a few years back. She's gone and graduated and come back to fill this position, but we're going to get more on that in a little bit. But just, Paige, just first off, we're going to get to your history, but just tell us, how do you feel about being here, being back, and being part of the TrojanVision family?
Well, first of all, it's really, really neat. It's so interesting how there are things that are the exact same. You know, it's you and Jeff, the man behind the camera there. You guys are the same. You're the best. You're still the most awesome people I know. You know, you guys are the same. There are different parts of campus.
Stop kissing up to the boss.
Stop
Okay,
that,
sorry.
stop
All right,
that.
sorry.
There are things that are the same, which are really nice. It feels good to be back home. But then I'll turn the corner and then boom, something's different. Or there's a new building. Or, oh, that's changed. Or, oh, that used to didn't be there. So it's really neat to see how things have stayed the same but are evolving. And really, I think that kind of speaks to what our plan is here, me and Aaron, to go forward and keep things that are the same, but also usher in the new times.
Well, and let's get into your background, and we'll talk a little bit more about the plans, things here. Give folks kind of your full background. Like, what brought you here? What brought you to Troy initially, and then what brought you here? Where have you been since you graduated? So.
Sure. So it's kind of a funny story. I came to Troy not expecting to be in broadcast. You know this. I was sitting outside of TrojanVision for several weeks, and midday needed a weather anchor. And you saw me sitting there and went, "Can you run PowerPoint and talk?" And I said, "I think." So I started doing the weather, and it kind of just took off from there. It became something I did, and then I made friends, which is what TrojanVision does. You get sucked in and then you don't get back out. But I came in, I did the weather, I started anchoring, reporting, and stayed here pretty much throughout the rest of my college career. Then I graduated, didn't go very far. I went to Dothan.
Yes.
I went to WDHN there, started reporting. They had me as the evening 10 o'clock anchor, and then soon after I ended up co-anchoring with another Troy graduate, Ben Stanfield, who was with WDHN. So I was there for a really long time. I made a lot of good friends. We call it kind of like Troy 2.0 because so many Troy graduates
go from here to there.
Yes,
so, yeah.
and end up in Dothan. And so I met my husband there. I met a lot of good friends there, and stayed there for a really long time, and then thought, okay, I went from Elba to Troy to Dothan. I've got to go and like see something else. You know, I at least have to try. So ended up going to Colorado, where nobody would have expected me to go. So we went to Colorado and switched gears a little bit. I became a digital producer, so I was all online. I wasn't really going out and reporting. But then eventually they needed a weekend morning anchor. And so they said, "Can you anchor?" And I said, "Can I anchor?" "Yes, I can anchor." And so
plenty of experience doing that. So.
Excuse me. So ended up doing that. Had a great time in Colorado. Didn't stay very long, about a year, and wanted to be closer to family. We had our adventure. We went off and said, okay, it was fun, but let's bring it closer to home. So we ended up going to Knoxville, Tennessee at WATE. And there I went back to reporting, which felt great. I mean, that's what we started doing in TrojanVision, was picking up the camera, going outside and filming. So we did that and reported, and then also anchored on the weekend mornings, and then had a great time there. And then all of a sudden my phone was ringing and a familiar friend was on the other line.
Well, and we brought you back in here, and now you're serving as TV production coordinator, the position that I once held before moving on to for 21 years.
Yes.
And you were one of my students that came through the program, and an opportunity for you to come back. So what brought you back other than a phone call? So,
So I mean, Troy was the reason I got to have the adventures that I got to have. I mean, I was able, because of TrojanVision, to leave this program, go to a news station, not get that much training. They said, okay, let's show you the equipment. I said, okay. I knew the equipment. I knew how to handle it. And they sent me out and I started reporting, you know? So it was that level of preparedness that not every broadcast journalism student in the country gets to have, but the people that come to Troy and get involved with TrojanVision, they do have. And it makes all the difference, especially in an industry that so desperately needs trained and prepared people to hit the ground running. That's what TrojanVision did for me, and that's why I love TrojanVision, because it works. And I can say it works because it worked for me, you know?
Well, here's looking forward to seeing what you're able to accomplish in this new position and seeing what you're able to accomplish here on this desk, doing the interviews from this point on. As I pass the torch over to you for Trojan Talk, I want to thank you for joining me today for this interview, introducing you to the folks out at home.
Thanks, Aaron.
And thank you for joining us on this edition, my last edition of Trojan Talk.